ZMB All Zombie Radio.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Punky Brewster. That's not my intro anymore. I turned Takira's camera off um because she's not invited anymore. No, that's not why. Because she is switching from her computer to her phone. So she'll be here in a second. But welcome to another episode of Finding Found episodes. Nope, that's not right. The show in which we maybe or maybe not find things that may or may not have been found in an episode of NBC's hit television series, Found. It never gets less, that introduction. Anyway, we're here to, excuse me, cover episode 13. Hey, Durga. Episode 13 entitled Missing While Grieving. Here's our girl. Here she is.
Should be much better.
The picture's way better.
Oh,
Way, way better. Okay. Great, great, great. And the background noise is like nothing right now.
perfect.
Okay, so yes, episode 13 of the second season entitled Missing While Grieving, which I guess applies on two levels again. That's what, that's what they're always trying to do. Title is applicable two times. For a flashback and a forward, because this is our formula now. Flashback, forward, flashback, forward, flashback, forward. Good luck keeping track of where we are. Oh, wait, this time Kelly Williams is going to wear a wig, so you know.
It
That's
was
really the.
there.
Say that again. You cut out so bad.
Oh no! I said they were talking about that lace front on Twitter.
Oh, I mean, it was a good install,
Uh-huh.
honestly. It looked good. All right, so let's take a look. Oh, well, this episode was indeed special to Kelly because she happened to be the director of this episode. And it was written by Jennifer A. King, which I had mentioned in last week's episode that she also did episode 6 of season 1 entitled Missing While Addicted. And that's it. That might be it. Nope, I'm sorry. Episode 2 of season 2, Missing While Difficult. I can't keep track. It's a lot of repeat directors and writers often. Anyway, this episode aired yesterday evening, and I actually put up the link early. Thank goodness. The Lord didn't have to strike me down because I vowed it.
Size glasses are, guys. Don't know where
What?
they are.
What?
I said I don't know where my normal size glasses are.
Oh, I think these are cute.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, they're super cute. Okay, so we don't have ratings, but I did find out some interesting information regarding the ratings. So we don't have ratings yet. We're not going to have them probably until tomorrow or Saturday. But oh, I could let you know last week's, I suppose. Sorry, I've got a lot of windows up right now. Last week's was up, not by a lot, but by a little.
I'll take.
So it was 2.19 US viewers, US in millions. So not great, not horrible. Here's the interesting thing about this though. Live streaming has really changed the game. Clearly. Clearly. Because I was like, well, where is it on the rating scale in comparison to other things? Where is it? And I was like, oh, that's low. And now I'm like, no, it's not. Not really. So, okay. So, for instance, just to give you a little bit of context here, the number one rated program currently, based on this would be like last week's data, is Saturday Night Live with an audience of 13.9 million. That was up 243%. Why, you may ask? Because it was the 50th anniversary.
Oh.
That's the only reason. Is Saturday Night Live normally that high? No. No way, no how. It's just not, honestly, not really that funny anymore. And that Domingo skit needs to go in a closet and not ever come out again. It's not that funny. Stop it. Just stop. I mean, you're lucky you corralled Pedro Pascal into that one, but it's just not that funny. Okay, anyway, they like murdered it. They've done it so many times. Okay. A lot of like a lot of what I would not expect to be so high is high. World News Tonight, shocking to me. NASCAR Daytona 500. Well, that makes sense. That's a big race. So that makes sense. Nightly News with Lester Holt. Also surprising to me. Okay. I guess the only people watching actual television are old, so a lot of these check out, I suppose. FBI. I don't know what FBI is, but that's up there. It's on CBS.
Oh,
Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Also up there.
sure
That's got
did.
6 point. Do you like it?
Yes. It's
Oh,
a
okay. I haven't watched it. You were getting cut off every time. Okay, I'll pause. Wait a second.
it's a Sheldon spinoff.
Oh, I'm surprised by that. But not by the numbers then. That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know what it is about that character, but people just cannot let it go. Anyway, poor Sheldon, will he never have a break? Um Lester no top lip Holt usually does well in ratings. I can't. I cannot with you. Okay. Um all right. You know what else is high? Things that you would expect. Tracker, because that stars a very handsome man, so that makes
Oh,
sense to me. The Voice, obviously. Matlock, the redone Matlock, because why
really?
not? We love a redone show, apparently. I don't. 60 Minutes, because 60 Minutes has always been a banger. Ghosts, which I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm sorry. 5.5 million of you are watching Ghosts on CBS. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Ah,
You should be
ah!
ashamed of yourselves. That show is hot garbage. Do you want to watch the real Ghosts? Go watch it somewhere else. I don't remember where it is, but the British version is better.
It's always better and over there.
1,000 times better. I watched the first episode of Ghosts, the US one, not knowing there was a British version. And maybe I watched like the first two. I was like, this show is not funny. And I
I think
stopped watching it.
so, and I never saw it again.
I was like, this is lame and weird, and like the jokes aren't landing for me. And also, like, why are jokes so like pervy now? I'm just getting old. I'm becoming old. That's really what it is. Anyway. Then it's other stuff that I was also kind of surprised by, like FBI International. So I assume that's a spinoff of the FBI show that's so highly rated. Is this like a CSI kind of thing? You think so? Okay. Okay. Um, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to we'll just pause in between, and then Takira will be able to talk. um,
So the weird thing is, the main reason I got off of the computer is because it was doing that when you were talking. So imagine I left it on, and we had to pause for you to talk for me to hear you, and then you pause for me to talk for you to hear.
woof. That is rough. Okay. So, Will Trent is up there. Elsbeth. Okay, so
Wait,
we're
we watched that too.
yeah. So we're in like the procedurals, right? We're in the realm of procedurals, so this is starting to make sense. If I scroll down a little bit more, FBI Most Wanted. I assume that's yet another spinoff to this entire thing that I'm just not watching. Um, Watson. Which, like, how many times can we redo Sherlock Holmes? But it's fine.
Richie cost her on my screen. I accept it.
Okay. All right. Fair. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. NCIS Sydney, Fire Country, Law and Order SVU. So there you go. Okay, then we've got like Chicago Med, The Equalizer. I'm scrolling because there's other stuff in between, but it's like news programs and stuff. SWAT, Rookie, America's Funniest Home Videos. Then it's like Happy's Place, which okay, that makes sense. Is Reba, Masked Singer, Chicago Fire. These all make sense to me. NCIS, the original, the OG recipe. Um, Shark Tank, Abbott Elementary is at 47, which I love to see it. I do love to see it. Um, okay, so then I'm scrolling and it's like 2020, The View, Bachelor,
Yeah.
St. Denis Medical, which if or yeah, Denise Medical. Anyway, I don't remember how it's pronounced, but if you haven't seen it, you should watch it because it was actually very funny. Um, I've watched a lot of the episodes that were on streaming. Okay, anyway, scrolling down, we get to number 63, and it is Found, which surprised me. Right below 48 hours. Fair. Above Deal or No Deal Island.
Okay.
Also above Celebrity Jeopardy. Also above the Night Court redone thing because we're just redoing everything. We can't come up with anything new anymore. Also above The Irrational.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Kitchen Nightmares above that. I know. I was shocked. And yeah, above some other shows. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you guys like that was a lot. That was a lot of time to go into that, but I feel like when I see the numbers, I feel like disappointed that it's not doing better. But in comparison to what else is out there, it's really not doing that poorly. It's doing
And I feel
fine.
like it's up there with shows that have actually been around for a good while.
Yeah, yeah, it has. Now, for us, like I think for you and me, like that number is skewed because we watched The Walking Dead during the height of The Walking Dead. I mean, those numbers were through the roof. It was, 6, 7 million every episode. So to see
Yeah.
2.1 is like, but not the same, not a cultural phenomenon, yet. Could get to SVU
Seems like
levels.
there's a
You never
little
know.
more people catching on. You know, I will no longer like discount a show that just didn't quite catch on in like season one, even season two, because the way it fully took from 3 seasons to explode.
It sure did. That was like all word of
Yep,
mouth, I
it
felt like.
was.
And the cast doing TikToks cuz that was the only reason anybody knew about the show. I feel like, honestly. All right. Durga said they need to let the cases be fleshed out, multiple episode arcs. The M&A cases are starting to be boring and unfulfilling. Amen, sister friend. For real.
And I can tell you why. So, you know how after a while on The Walking Dead, there were 8,372 characters and we needed to know what was going on with each character?
Yeah.
So in season
Mm-hmm.
one, it would be yes, there's something going on with everybody, but we're going to focus on this one um,
Mm-hmm.
core character for the episode, and then we'll focus on the
Yeah.
case. Season two, it's what's going on with Margaret, what's going on with Sir, what's going on with Gabby, what's going on with the
Mm-hmm.
case, what's going on maybe in two different parts of the case because sometimes it's like
Yeah.
this side is
They split
yeah.
up.
So they're not properly like I feel like we don't properly feel fulfilled like we did at the end of episodes because there's so much going on that you can't properly flesh everything out that you're trying to put out there, you know?
Yeah, I agree. That's why it would be better if the episodes were spread out
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit more, even if it was like a story arc. I mean, there are like bigger quote unquote story arcs, but I don't know.
It's like,
No, some of it's just becoming a.
yeah, it's like I guess they didn't want it to start feeling monotonous, so they wanted to try to throw all these other things into the episode, but it's not doing what they want it to do.
Well, I think part of the problem is too, our main characters became too interesting, and these
Mm-hmm.
side stories are not interesting. It would
Right.
almost be better if they were like chasing like a serial, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it was like consistently like they're looking for, clues to follow that person or whatever. Like it would be better if it was something along those lines,
I
because
think. Sorry.
no, I have zero interest in these, like, the perpetrators of these crimes. Also, it's like they're a background character. Oh, it's that chick
Mm-hmm.
that you saw for a split second.
I
No
also feel
payoff.
like mm, everyone is, of course, extremely interested in Sir. And no, we
Well,
didn't
yeah.
see him a lot in the episodes in season one, but I do feel we should have seen him more in these episodes simply because he was free. He had more time on his hands. He was clearly making plans and doing all this stuff. And I don't know, I guess they want us to be surprised with whatever Sir decides to do, but like I wanted to see more of what he did with his time after he escaped from the basement.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Something about it's a little bit off. I'm not really sure. Again, they're trying something new,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll just let it happen and see what goes on. Um, and I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions because there are a lot of unanswered things right now. We haven't seen Trent's booty call who got shot
Right.
in a
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks. What's going on with that girl? What's going on with her? Anyway, okay. So this episode, mind you, didn't have the title card until the very end. Am I right?
Really?
I didn't see it until the very end. So we did not get our normal at all this week, because also there was a song playing over it. What we did get was a opening song by, I had to look it up because I was like, what is this? Um by I'm gonna mispronounce that. Song is called Cold Wind Blows featuring Mississippi Twilight, and it is by Fiverr. That's not right. I'm just gonna spell it. Fievre.
Fever?
Maybe, but it's like
Fi-
Fever.
Yeah. Now I was about to say Fiverr.
Five Goes West. It's about Five Goes West. Okay. By Five Goes West. That's not the name of the band. It is what I spelled. Just anyway. Okay. I don't know if it was just me, but that song was a very much giving Walking Dead or early Walking Dead season vibes for me. Now, to be fair, earlier today, I watched the last drive-in episode where Joe Bob covers the first two episodes of The Walking Dead with
Ah.
Greg Nicotero. Maybe that was why. I don't know. but something about that song gave me, it was like it doesn't matter. It was just, it gave me off that vibe to me. It seems like very much not of this time, but of like 2011, 2012. That's all I'm going to say about it. Anyway, so Sir is in a lockup, And he might be looking for love. I don't know. Maybe he'll be on love after lockup or love during lockup. It's he's like, it's been 2 days. When can I get a shower? Because it's really bothering him because he
I
is a
knew
clean freak.
I've been waiting for him to like crash out about cleanliness.
He's not quite there yet, but he's getting there. Um, hey Marcus.
Marshall.
Anyway,
Hmm.
so skip to Gabby. Gabby's like, look, I'm not free because Sir took away my penance. And it keeps me still trapped in that damn farmhouse. That was the line. That I was like, okay. Okay. Okay, girl. You're dramatic. For the first time, I can't predict his next move. Okay. Okay. But he is locked up. And like this is what you wanted the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you wanted revenge because you were like not okay. But, I get it. Anyway, serve your penance a different way, lady. That's all I got to say about it.
Yep.
Serve it another way. Anyway, Bernie calls. Who is Bernie, you might ask? Yet another retcon character for your viewing pleasure. Because that's what we keep doing now. We're like, psych, there's all this time we didn't tell you about. What now? Now there's all these characters that you don't know anything about. Who will be on next week that she also knew back in the day? I don't know. Someone else.
Stop it.
Okay, so it's Bernie, and Bernie's like, someone took Violet. Oh my goodness. He's bleeding. He's on the floor. Surprise, he's also blind. Okay. That's a lot. Then the cops come in and they're like, freeze, hands in the air. And everyone's like, and she just keeps yelling, don't shoot. And I'm like, wouldn't you just be like, I'm Gabi Mosely?
Especially because not trying to be funny, but sometimes when black people yell "Don't shoot," police don't care.
I know. Like, just, I think maybe we should teach people like that's not at all what you need to yell.
Right. Right.
Because that's what they teach us in education. If you want someone to stop running, you don't say no running
Right.
because all they hear is the running part of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want them to stop running, you say use your walking feet. Anyway. Okay, so Bernie and Gabby get taken to the police station and it's and it's a whole thing and Takeerah's telling her children and her husband should just stop. Anyway, they need to be on the lookout for Bernie's sister Violet cuz where is she? And they're like, no, brah. He's a person of interest and we're keeping him because he's suspected for the murder of his sister, even though we don't have a body. So why would we think that she was murdered? But okay. None of this makes sense, honestly. The whole beginning of this was wild. I was like, what is happening? Is everybody just really bad at their job? There was blood found in the hallway, elevator, and near the dumpster in the garage. Okay. Did you check the dumpster? Also, then isn't the janitor the one you'd be after? Whatever. Currently tracking down the truck that took the trash. He's blind. So probably not. Also, he's a respected pastor at Holy Shepherd Church. So get his name out of your mouth. He's not a murderer. And it's like, well, he's not legally blind, so maybe he could have done it. Well, maybe, but he didn't. Spoiler alert, he didn't. Anyway, she's like, he couldn't commit that kind of violence. And she hadn't talked to him for a year, so how did she know? Bernie and Violet fight a lot. And then Gabby's like, you know what? If he's a person of interest, he's not arrested, I'm going to take him. And also, why is he important to me, you may ask? Because his wife, Maria, was my therapist when I escaped the farmhouse. She helped, but she's dead, and we're not going to talk about her all that much, so she didn't really. It was actually Bernie that helped. Before there was Gina, there was Bernie. That was such a weird line. I was like, what? Are you writing your autobiography? What's happening? It's like such a weird line to say out loud. It's like for mom, before there was Chili's Triple Dipper, there was Nachos Bel Grande. Like what? I only say this because I ordered a Triple Dipper for dinner. And you know what? They gave me someone else's Triple Dipper. Wasn't mine.
um,
And it was the worst Triple Dipper. Whoever ordered that is a monster because it came with double honey chipotle chicken crispers. Double. And then it also came with the Nashville hot mozzarella sticks to go.
what is
Who are
happening?
you? Who are you? You're a criminal, is who you are. Because I had ordered one set of the chicken crispers. I also ordered the big bite sliders because I wanted a little burger action, and also that's what makes the triple dipper special.
I bet whoever ordered that other triple dipper sleeps in jeans.
Oh my god, that's horrendous. That's horrifying. They do. They they do. You just feel it. You know what? I felt it when I bit into the Nashville hot mozzarella stick and the cheese had zero cheese pull and all it did was shoot oil out. And I was like, this is gross. But I got my money back. So- but my night was ruined, arguably. Anyway, what is a I'm sorry, Turner. You don't know what a triple dipper is? Oh my gosh. Have you ever been to Chili's? As though this is a reputable restaurant or something. Chili's will forever have a special place in my heart because my friend worked at a Chili's as a manager for many years. And I ate many a dinner at a Chili's in the Milwaukee area. Um, Triple dippers have been around honestly since the beginning of time. Triple dippers have been on the menu for so long, but recently became revitalized. I guess because of TikTok? Is that why people are ordering?
What?
I
Oh,
see videos of
probably.
triple dippers all the time.
Probably.
It's why it gets in my head and I'm
Yeah.
like, I want a triple dipper because I'm obviously very easily influenced. Um, influence me with better things because
You should find me $1 million.
yeah, influence me with like money and like influence me with like healthy food, maybe not this garbage that I ate. Um, anyway, you get to pick of many options 3 items to be in your triple dipper. And so there's burger sliders, there's a variety of different chicken strips. There is these gigantic mozzarella sticks that are super gross to me because I'm going to just say it. I don't understand the hype with mozzarella sticks. The breading is bad and cheese curds, fried cheese curds are 1,000 times better. I'll say it. Cheese curds are better. You know what? Even the garbage cheese curds from Culver's are better than mozzarella sticks. Okay? It's just not as good. Plus the marinara sauce. What are we in Italy? I don't want this. I don't want this. I want ranch. Ranch is all I want.
Oh God. Richard would be so upset with you if you didn't give him marinara with his mozzarella
Well, I'm
sticks.
not ordering them. So, and then one of my personal favorites is the Southwest egg rolls from Chili's. And that can also be in your triple dipper. They're great. They've got corn in them and they come with like a nice avocado creamy sauce that I really enjoy. Anyway, I've really gone off on a tangent about this triple dipper. Okay. What I was trying to say was before Chili's triple dippers, there was Nachos Bel Grande. Okay. So she takes him, and guess what? Christian's car was found abandoned a few miles from his hotel. No sign of him. But these were in there, and they're photos of the team and Margaret. Oh, wait, pan over to Margaret. That's your transition. Surprise. Um, he's drinking a coffee. Famy's drinking a coffee with a triple shot. Think you should be drinking that much caffeine? I'm not 6 anymore. Besides, I barely slept last night. Motel mattresses should be illegal. That's a lie. Some of the best nights of
Right.
sleep I've ever had have been in a crappy motel or hotel. Um, and she's like, you know, you could always sleep in your own bed, which I'm a little bit confused. She still lives in her old house.
And isn't his bed the bed of like an
That
8-year-old
was also
child?
the other thing. You wanna come home and sleep in your uncomfortable twin bed from when you were a child?
You wanna sleep in your
You
car
want to
bed
sleep on a 20-year-old mattress?
with probably the same sheets.
100%. 100%. So all I have to say is I'm going to go with the motel bed in that situation. And he's like, "I told you I'm not ready." She's like, "Okay, I'm not pushing.
God.
I'm not pushing." And he's like, "So I heard Gabby's message.
She
Sounds like M&A has a case."
she knows that's not her kid.
He's
She knows that's not her kid.
okay, look. I'm going to still call him Famey. And you may be like, "Punky." You might even touch my hand and be like, "Let's get real. Bridget." He had the toy car. Everyone's saying he really is Jamie. He's not. And you want to know what? Even if the DNA test results come back a match, he handed them the can.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue this is some sort of sick and twisted game. And he's living with Jamie or something, holding him
Yeah.
hostage. And that's how he has access to these things. I don't know. He seems like a
What was
real
this?
weirdo.
So I only saw like 35 minutes of the
Hmm.
episode, and then the rest was playing silently while we were on here. Um,
Yes. Okay.
what was his excuse about the mole?
Oh, he had it lasered off.
Why?
My question is,
Wh-
who are you living with that paid to have you get this lasered off? So you
Right.
weren't kidnapped? This seems like a free will type
And
situation.
then the way you were raised over the last 13 years made you observe it. And then and to me that sounded like a negative thing. But then like at a different point, I feel like he almost didn't want to say something negative about like his upbringing.
Something is not adding up. Something isn't adding up. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so you got it taken off like 10 years ago or whatever is what he said. Okay, but somebody had to pay for that. Did they pay for it because it was a close call and someone almost found you? Or was it because you didn't want to be found? Okay, if you're saying you didn't
Mhm.
want to be found, why is that? Something about this
Mhm.
doesn't add up. I just don't. I mean, it could be Stockholm syndrome, but I'm still betting he ain't real.
Yeah, I don't think he's real. The timing is just
It's
no.
weird. Now, here's the reason everyone's like, "No, it's got to be Jamie. He had the train car." He had the train car from his desk in his coat pocket, which was found because Gabby went to go cover him with that coat, and then the brooch fell out, which solved the whole case. And in the other pocket was the train car, and it had his initials etched into the bottom of it. But Margaret then says that train car was on his desk, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And I assumed his sisters had taken it, and I was so mad at them. And now it shows up in his pocket all these years later. That means the kidnapper was in my house after the fact.
Yep.
Yeah, he's fake. He's fake for real.
Mhm.
I can't handle it. Okay.
Why are you stealing from crime scenes?
And then going, I thought the lady wouldn't miss it. Bruh. She's missing. She's not dead. Good Lord.
And you know what? That's what it was. So you're observant, and it's so many. Okay, why do you want to be like? Why is Gabby's name in your mouth every 2 seconds? Why are you trying to do these cases with M&A? Why are you stealing from crime scenes? You're supposed to be so observant and being able to figure things out because of how observant you are, but you think it's okay to steal from a crime scene and you stole something that helped them freaking solve the crime.
That's why I got on this tangent because he's like, sounds like M&A has a case, and he's like way too excited about it. He's like, I
Mm-hmm.
can help. I don't think you do want to help. You're up to something else. And he monitors Margaret like way too closely. Like he's got some
Mm-hmm.
sort of infatuation with her process, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right. Something is definitely not right. Okay.
And like, did he put a bug somewhere? Why does he know what everyone was
I
saying?
don't know. So they go to work the case, but there's like a bunch of paparazzi there. So she's like, fine, but unless you want the whole world to know you're back, we should go now. Keep your head down. I won't let anyone near you. It's like, so you didn't tell anybody that you found your missing son? This is weird. This is really weird. Anyway, then we get a flashback, and it's like Margaret's kids screaming that they want mommy, they miss Jamie. And the dad is like trying to handle everything on his own while Margaret is literally just breaking down. And it's hard. It's a hard watch. It is a hard
Mm-hmm.
watch. Um it then goes back to present, and Gabby is walking into M&A with Bernie, and there's a bunch of paparazzi, and they all want to know, like, are you going to testify at the trial? Are you relieved this is over? And then Bernie flips out and like takes a swing at somebody. It's like, leave her the hell alone. And Gabby's like, whoa, what's going on here? Durga said she didn't tell because she knows it's not him. I know we talked about that theory that she's like playing him
Mm-hmm.
to figure out who he is.
I keep wanting to be very angry at her because there's so many ways that she really is playing the role of like, I believe this is my son. And if that's really how she feels, then I'm really pissed off that she would think it's okay for her to be the only one to know he's
If
back.
our theory is wrong, I'm gonna be super pissed. Like if our
Yeah.
theory isn't the correct story, I'm gonna be really angry at how this is gone. Because I just really don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't tell your ex-husband? You didn't tell his siblings? This is Shaker didn't even know?
So you just all whatever progress you've made with your daughter and trying to build up a relationship with her again,
It's
you
gonna be
just said
gone.
screw
Yeah,
that.
it's gonna be gone. Anyway, so they're asking Bernie to recount the events of that night that his sister goes missing. And it's like he went to bed early, he woke up, he heard a crash, Violet screamed his name, he ran into the living room, he tripped and he fell, and he lost his walking stick, so he couldn't find his way around. And he was crawling on the floor, and he felt blood next to a cabinet. And that's when he called Gabby at that moment. Um, and it's like, well, who would want to hurt Violet? And Bernie's like lying about something. And so Gabby asks everyone to leave,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, what's going on? And he delivers by far the most dramatic. She killed her. She killed my Maria. It was wild. Anyway, then it pops over and Z.
And then the look on Gabby's
I was,
face when
I was just like, what is happening? Okay. Then it flips over to Zeke, and he's like, Bernie became a pastor after he was diagnosed with rare hereditary and degenerative eye disorder. And Violet's a retired programmer. She lived in Florida, but she moved back to take care of her brother and Maria because Maria was sick. And then it talks about like, was Violet religious and stuff? I don't know. Essentially, all of this is just a vehicle to tell you that Bernie was very talented when it came to preaching. That's really all this was a vehicle for. Um, that he had a really powerful testimony. in the fact that he lost his vision and that's kind of when he turned to God. And so that's kind of why this whole story is the way that it is, because the whole point of this is that he has such a strong faith, and Gabby found like comfort and solace in knowing that people could have such a strong faith. It's a little bit weird 'cause she
Mhm.
doesn't have any faith, and so like I, I feel like that would make it more disparaging for me, but I don't know. For some reason, for her, this was helpful. To each we're all different.
I I kind of get it. Like I've had I guess certain things that we go through, certain times in our life, certain people can bring us closer to like our spirituality.
Okay,
Um
I can see
but
that. I
if
can see
it's
that.
just if it's something that's like just kind of not there for you, as something that you do on a constant, it is nice for me to know that there are still people out there who do.
Okay.
Like especially when you start to feel like humanity sucks. Um like to know that there's people like you out there, or even to know that there's a Bridget that I can call and is going to give me a response, and I know no matter what that response is, it's not coming from an evil place or a mean place, or like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I could see that. I could say I'm sorry. I should have prefaced this with I am Christian and have been my entire life. And so I can't really see it from the other side, but I could see that's a really good explanation. I could see that giving you like restoring faith in humanity. I could
Yes.
see that. I could see that. Okay. That makes much more sense. I was like kind of struggling with this. I'm like, I don't really understand this, but that makes way more sense. Thank you for that. Um anyway, so Bernie blames Violet for Maria's death. We're not going to go off onto I'm just going to say this now. We are not going to talk about this. We're not going
Yeah.
to talk about where we stand on after we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about long-term care, or we're not going to talk about brain dead versus none of it. We're not
Yeah.
going to talk about any of it.
All I want to, I just want to bring up that I cackled when Gabby finally said, "You're going to have to stop saying that."
Fair. I laugh too. Um, Here's the thing. Everybody's got their beliefs about this. And
Yeah.
and here this is my belief on this whole thing, especially when it comes to like cuz this is so intertwined into faith. Okay? Like whether you have it or
Yeah,
you don't,
definitely.
this is very strongly intertwined in like how you view the world and how you view life and death and what that means. So we're not going to
Hmm.
go into it because it's there's so many different viewpoints, and that's the thing. I could say what I think. It's not going to change your mind. If it's different from my opinion, it's not going to change your mind. There's no
Right.
point in talking about it. You can everybody believes that, and it's a deep internal thing for you. Okay, so we're just gonna
And then you could go 40 years feeling one way about it, and then it's right there in your face.
100%,
And then,
100%, because who knows what we're gonna deal with when we come push to making these decisions for our loved ones.
hmm,
So I just we're just gonna stay away from that. I don't want anybody to be like, oh, I'm so surprised they didn't go. No, don't be surprised. We I'm not about that life right now. I don't want someone like clicking well actually clickety clickety clickety. I don't need any of that. We don't need to argue about it. It just is what it is. I thought this presented a really it tried to give you both sides. It's not super balanced, but it's balanced enough that I thought I did a good job
hmm,
handling a topic that is very touchy. Now, I think maybe this is touchier for like to hear you, me, like people of our age range, because we saw really big philosophical, very public discussions about these things in our younger years.
Mm-hmm.
because this kind of stuff was really in the news when I was in high school. I have
Yeah.
very distinct memories of that. So I think that's why kind of I'm like, I want to just stay away from it because I remember having to sit through poli sci and talk about this endlessly, and I don't want to anymore. So
And I have to deal with it at work every day, so I'm good.
that's true. That's true. And that's very personal to those families. And so they should make those decisions and not us. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So they had been fighting because Maria had been sick for a while. And she had a stroke and she slipped into a coma before doctors could figure out what was wrong. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that's how doctoring works. A lot of the time, it's just treating the symptoms. And if you don't catch it, sometimes you never will. I'm a walking case of you will never know what happened. So, um, a few days prior, Maria gave Violet control over her end of life care, and Bernie didn't know that until Violet made the decision to take Maria off of life support. I could see how that would be extremely hurtful to her husband. Extremely hurtful. But she couldn't.
And no one was ever
I
sorry.
was gonna say
I
she
think
couldn't have the conversation with him because she was in a coma.
I was gonna say she couldn't have the conversation, and then no one else could really have even try to maybe let him see the other side of the coin, where, like I said, I deal with it every day. The person is saying, I know if this, and this happens, my spouse is going to lose it.
Hmm.
And I just need
Hmm.
someone with a level, clear head that's going to do what I asked them to
Yeah.
do. And that's what happens a lot of time. And at the last minute, they
Well, it's
change.
deciding for your relative. I want to take this pressure off of you. It's the same reason that
Mm-hmm.
people are like really into the movement of the Swedish death cleaning is because otherwise you're left not only burdening your children with the fact that you have died and they have to grieve you, but now they have to grieve you while going through your entire house full of stuff. And that's, as someone who's done it, it's exhausting. And it got to a point where I was just making gut decisions because I couldn't think about it anymore. I can't
Mm-hmm.
imagine. I cannot imagine. Anyway, I can't imagine. I did not have to make the last decisions for my dad. His sister did, so that was out of my hands. Anyway, I don't know how that would have gone for me. Um, okay, so there was no forced entry. This does appear as motive, but we find out there's also a deacon at the church who's like in debt for gambling and and writes an email that says you'll soon find yourself alone, Bernie, with no one there for you and it'll be all your fault, which is a wild thing for a deacon to say. Because you know what? You know who is always there for you? My brother in Christ, the Lord, Jesus. So you better watch your mouth saying that kind of stuff. You should lose your job as a deacon. Wow.
I was like,
I know. I was
okay,
like, that is a wild take for you, sir.
the heck?
Um, and he says even wilder things when they go talk to him. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Anyway, then we see Dawn for like a second because Dawn is like not in this episode at all, right?
Right.
Like hardly. Lacey either. And really, other
True,
than the
yeah.
disembodied information we received from Zeke, that's it. So, anyway,
It was just too much focus on that freaking imposter.
I know, right? So over him. Anyway, Shaker's over there. This is the first time we've seen Shaker for like longer than a
In
second
a long
in a
time.
long time.
Yeah.
So I was excited about that because we like her. Okay, so then Hugh
But then
Evans.
the way she just was like, Jamie, oh, like, interesting. Like,
Oh,
that's your response to someone that's been missing for.
hello there. Um,
Right.
so Hugh Evans is a visitor, and it's old Heavy Boots. And he's like, "Hey, I found these in your brother's car, these photos. Where is he?" And he's like, you should be concerned about your family because have you talked to your father about those missing children?" Which I'm still like, are you insinuating that his father took the children? Or are you insinuating he just didn't do a good job as a cop?
I think it's the second one, but knowing, sir, there is no telling.
And he's like, this is my favorite. Have you confronted your father about those missing children, or is your limited brain still in denial about the truth? Classic.
From inside prison. From
Classic. Anyway, he's like, he just walks past it. Durga, I know. I want to know what's going on. Where are these missing children? Are we going to learn the truth? It's killing
Yeah,
me.
because don't like wave that around in the background for us and then not do
This
anything
whole
with it.
season, honestly, has been a tease. You know what kind of tease? It's been one. Okay. So Heavy Boots is like, your brother's dangerous. He has eyes on Gabby. And Sir's like, he's not dangerous. He lacks spine. And he's like, dude, he shot a civilian, except he didn't, and we all know he didn't. And then he's like,
Exactly.
you're going to prison for the rest of your life. Gabby's out there vulnerable and exposed. If you care about her, talk to me. And he doesn't say anything. He's like, all right, Gabby's never going to speak to you again. You're stuck with me. Enjoy. P.S. He's wrong. As well. She's going to show up real soon.
Wait. Wait. Wait.
He's like, I know my girl. She's not ever coming here. Knock, knock, knock. Hello, I'm back in your life because I just can't let go.
I I felt like he said, Gabby's never gonna speak to you again. And Sir was like,
Yeah, exactly. We'll see about that. And literally, we will see. Anyway, then it's back to Margaret and Shaker and Don, I guess,
oh,
in the
oh, I thought you were gonna
in
say
the
the other
apartment.
one.
And then it's like, and then all of a sudden we hear, get off me. And the security guard's like, found him poking around the first floor. It looked like he was casing the place. He said he was with you. So you just bring him up there? What are you, insane? What kind of security guard are you? You're so bad at your job. And then Shaker's like, who is this? And Don's like, you brought him to a crime scene? I think it was Don. And then she's like, I told you wait in the car. I'm sorry. I got nervous. I just wanted to find you. Did you? Or are you nosy?
I'm so sick of him.
Look, if you're gonna be nosy, just admit it. When I'm nosy, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm just being nosy. It's a
One
criminal
second
investigation.
it's
We all would want to.
one second it's you, screw you, I need a cigarette, and the next second I was so nervous I had to go find my mommy.
I don't know why the cigarette smoking is so off-putting to me, but again, it's just like it's me as a teenager, and it's gross to me. It's like really grossing me out. Anyway, um, and then Shaker's like, Jamie Reed, I'll be damned. That's her response.
I was like, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
So this oh okay. So
Then the
you know it's
security
not
guard.
Jamie either, huh?
I know, right? She's like, okay. Um, sure you are. Um, so then then the security guard's like, I have half a mind to file a report against him. There's been enough chaos this morning. Who file a report with who, sir? Your private security. Who are you filing the report for? And with? And Shaker's like, it's clear you take your job seriously, and I'm sure you gave a statement. But these folks were hired to look for Violet. So, and so they're like, did you know her well? And he's like, no, I didn't. because it might as well look like that because it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Margaret reads him, and then Jamie is like this while Margaret's reading him.
I
Could you
just
be
want to
more
flick
obvious?
him.
It was like the director was like, now watch her, but make it obvious. And he's like, okay,
It was like he was looking at her
that's,
eyeballs.
did I do good? I was watching her real hard. Like, what? Get out of here. Anyway, um, there's a little bit of a tiff. Anyway, Shaker's like, if you call me cop lady one more time, you're going to have a problem. And it kind of, I don't know. There's not much else there. We move on. Then it switches over to Gabby and Lacey are at the church, and Bernie is not the pastor anymore. He quit after Maria died, and Violet wasn't a member. So the deacon's like, I don't know how I can help you. And they're like, we know all about your embarrassing gambling debt and that you threatened Bernie because we're here to blackmail you, basically, is how they always behave. Typical M&A behavior. And then he's like, I am ashamed. And yes, I do have a gambling problem. And I didn't ask him for money. I asked him for emotional support. He was my, here's where it's wild. Bernie was my rock, my confidant, and helped me get my gambling under control in the past. And I thought he could do it again. And I was wrong. Okay, there's so many things wrong with that. You're an addict. Go get treatment. The treatment can be religious in nature. That's fine. That's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
But it can't
Mm-hmm.
just be your bud. It can't be. It's you've learned nothing
At
if
all.
that's the case. Um and so that was really weird. And also, you are literally a deacon. What do you mean? Bernie was the only one who was there for you? What? Again, my brother in Christ. What about the Lord and Savior? What is wrong with you? He's not good at his job. No one's good at
At
their
all.
job in this episode at all. Everyone's bad at their job. Um, honestly, the only one who's good at his job really is Sir
Right?
in this episode. Weirdly,
I kept saying, why is it that, like, from prison, this guy still seems to have everything under control?
I don't know. It's weird. He's like, he's doing the best job. Anyway, apparently Bernie's changed a lot since Maria's death. He's more cruel, less forgiving. Um, anyway, he's like, I didn't hurt Violet though. I'm a man of God, supposedly. And then she's like, Old Testament God or New Testament God? Which I was like, oh dang. Oh dang. That is deep. Okay.
When she
That
said
just
that, I was like,
means that just means are you a vengeful God or are you a forgiving God?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anyway, then Gabby sees Miss Pearl, who's just crammed into this episode. Because she is the villain. So that's why just had to cram her in there. And and she's like ah! There she goes. There she go. Richie, sit your ass down. That wasn't me impersonating you. That was me telling Richie. Um. So anyway, she's like, the church just hasn't been the same since Bernie left us. He was the. This is also wild. He was the real magic here, as you know. You're in a literal church. You know who the magic is for you? Jesus Christ.
I was just gonna say, so
This is
Jesus
weird.
isn't the magic.
You lady, all of you are bad at your job. And she's like, kind of like you're the magic at M&A. I'm kissing up to you right now.
Mm-hmm,
I don't know why.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was weird. It was weird because they're like, do you not like him? Do you not like the deacon? And she's like, he's okay, I suppose. It's just that his biggest sin is he's not Bernie. His biggest sin is literally something out of his control.
These side characters
They're
are
badly
side.
written.
They're like side dummies. They're
Miss Pearl,
just.
this is the lady with the bad North Carolina accent from last week. It's just in disguise. It's the same thing. It's bad. This is bad writing. I don't like this part. Stop giving us this part. Just focus on Gabby and Sir. I don't care about any of the rest. Honestly, we don't even. The show doesn't even need to be called Found anymore. It can be called Sir and Gabby Fun Time Hour. I do not care. I don't care about any of these background characters. They're
Can it be
lame.
called "Please Get Rid of Faux Jamie"?
Ugh, Famey's the worst. Anyway, um, so Christian, I don't know. They're like, he's not the accomplice now. I just know it. Because someone showed up at Gabby's house and put a photo up in her room where she's got the people who were never found up on the wall. And he puts up a picture of her. What is that supposed to mean?
Right.
Are you insinuating that you're going to kidnap her? Sir's sister? Trent's girlfriend? Because you're petty like that? Maybe. Anyway. So
How many walls does Gabby have?
I don't know. She's got a lot of doors in her house. Like a lot of doors. If you like pay attention when they're like panning, it's like that little hallway has like a bunch of doors in it.
What the hell?
I
And then
don't
he
know.
was like, when he said like, "Oh yeah, I heard you up there in that locked room." I'm like, did she kidnap someone?
I know, right? I was like, who else is in your house, girl? You got another secret room. Um anyway, they go back to the security guard and they find out that he was proposing to Violet. He actually loved her. And Violet said no. She didn't want to leave Bernie. And he was like, I thought she should be free of him because it was like so painful. The two of them being together is like they're just hurting each other all the time. And also, Violet had called 911 a couple months earlier because Bernie was breaking everything. And then they talked to Bernie, and he's like, yeah, because she bought new dishes and she was trying to replace Maria's dishes. And so I was breaking all the dishes. Um, it's just, it's just kind of a, it's just kind of a meh story. Anyway,
It's like I
um,
could understand everything Bernie was saying. I could even like when he was saying something about the dishes, like I kind of knew what he was going to say before he said it. And it's like I don't even want to say I could identify with him because I've never been through that, but like I understood everything he was saying. I understood his
yeah,
reasoning behind like all his
I did
temper
too.
tantrums and stuff.
I did too.
But
It's like,
I just didn't care.
well, yeah, I'm not as invested. I'm not as invested. I honestly it was like halfway through the episode I'm like, who are we even looking for anymore? Don't even care at this point. Um but anyway, so they're still looking for Violet. They haven't found her yet. And Gabby's like, my instincts are telling me that Bernie didn't do this. And Don's like, just like Margaret's instincts are telling her that Jamie's her son. Which, like, bro, are you okay? No, because he's being Angel again. Anyway, I don't remember who I said was Angel last week, but it was funny. So anyway, they're meeting at a different area because Margaret needs to have space from them. It's so weird. And they got Jamie Famey's DNA test results back, and they were inconclusive. And so it's like we still don't know. We still have zero answers. So anyway, then there's like this weird conversation with fake Jamie and Margaret, where it's like Gabby's just always on the move. I mean, that's just how she operates. Is that her superpower? Moving fast, thinking on the go. You all have a thing, which is like c- the
It just
viewers
kind of
already know
reminded me.
this. The viewers
Yeah.
already know this. I don't know if they're trying to hook a new audience. I'm not really sure what's going on here. We already know. We already know. I didn't need someone to be like, hey, they all have their superpower. Here's where they are. Let me list them off for you. It's weird exposition that we don't need. We really don't need. Anyway, we all know, so I'm just gonna fly past it because like who cares? And then the thing is that Margaret is hyper observant and he's like, you weren't like that before. Which this is why I feel like it's not her son, because what a dig.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You were not hyper observant before because I walked away and you didn't even notice. Is
And also,
basically what he
like,
should have said.
the way they then went into, like, oh, she didn't know what sneakers he had on. Like,
Yeah.
I remember we were first in Minneapolis, and it was Kiara's first day of school. We were having issues with the buses and all this stuff. It might have been the second day, I can't remember. All I know is she was not on time. And I think it took all of 5 minutes for me to call the cops.
Hmm.
And I got her dressed that morning. I get her dressed every morning. Couldn't tell you what my kid had on. It's
I
like,
mean, that's the thing. So that's the thing about the human brain, right? Like we don't take in details unless we know that they're going to be important later.
mm-hmm,
We don't store them. Our brain has a finite amount of space. And so we only store things that our brain deems as important for later. And things like that in day-to-day busyness do not become important. So it's like it's completely reasonable. It's heartbreaking to see that scene is really hard to watch.
mm-hmm,
I just really worry. I mean, honestly, if this episode did anything right, it's giving Kelly Williams the opportunity to really push some of these scenes to that
yeah,
uncomfortable level because she is a really great actress and she hasn't been given all that much material to
mm-hmm,
work with so far. Um so it was really nice to see that. We saw it in Lie to Me. She was
yes,
so good in Lie to Me and she got so much more room to flex that acting skill, and there's just less of that here because again, one, you've got a star-studded cast truly, but two, there's too much going on. So
mm-hmm.
she just doesn't have the space for it, which I think is probably why they're pushing this arc, this big Margaret arc. But anyway,
What I do like is the little scene of his sister running in, like, and she wasn't even running into like help. I think she just kind of overheard, and she was like, "No, those aren't the sneakers he had on because he
hmm,
loved those new ones." And I don't know why I loved that part so much, but it was something that made complete sense and seamlessly fit into,
yeah, it's like it was a
you
very
know what I
kid thing
mean?
to know. It's a very
Yeah.
kid thing to notice what your brother is wearing because that's important to your brain at that age.
Mhm.
You know, you're not worried about driving the car and keeping your family out of an accident or paying the bills or getting to work on time or getting your kids to school on time. You're not worried about any of that stuff. You're worried about what are your siblings like and what do you
Mhm.
like? And that's really it. Like you're just absorbing those facts. So
I wonder if I can fit those new red shoes that he loves so much.
so fake Jamie does his like I need to go on a cigarette break alone. And Margaret has like a little crash out here where she's like he'll come back, he'll come
Oh
back, he'll
yeah.
come back. Anyway, then it skips to the flashback that you were just mentioning with the colored shoes, and the sister comes in, and the dad, he doesn't say this to be like backhanded to Margaret or anything, but he says, "Thank you, Taylor. Details like those are going to save your brother's life." And that clicks for Margaret. That like
Mhm.
flips a switch in her brain. Um, so anyway, Bernie's cooking, and Gabby's kind of like, thought you couldn't cook because you're like blind. And he's like, I see in other ways now. Which is ominous. And then they talk about the breaking things and we find out it's the dishes and all that. And we find out that Bernie essentially is like losing his faith. He's kind of losing
Mm-hmm.
his faith as a result of this, because this would shake anyone's faith. This is hard to go through, losing your spouse. And so he says, I spent my life serving God and never asking for anything in return, not even when he took my sight. But then Maria got sick, and the one time I needed God, he abandoned me. She's gone. I can't even feel her anymore. Maria's just gone. And that was really hard, because then Gabby also says, like, I can't feel my father anymore. It was this is the thing. Like, this background story is not great. It's not strongly written, but there's these poignant moments in it where it's like, this is the good stuff. More of
Mm-hmm.
this. More of this. Um and she talks about how she blames Sir for it, as always. And anyway, then he mentions the thing about, like, you were in that locked room. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And we're all like, what? Anyway, the picture is up and it has Christian's fingerprints on it, but don't know how that's possible. Anyway, they found the dump truck. There was a shirt in it that was covered in Violet's blood. Now, that wouldn't be a DNA match because that would be too fast. So it's just covered in Violet's blood type.
Right.
So not even
Yeah.
sure. Anyway, the judge issued an arrest warrant based on that, which is insane.
Ri-
Hi, India Garcia. Nice to meet you too. And then Durga said the sister, she's talking about Sir's sister, is going to be insanely jealous of Gabby when they finally come face to face. We've already seen some of it with, like, some of those, like, little snide comments she made about, like, her being the one that Trent had dated before and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Um anyway, they're gonna bring Bernie in, and um and then there's, like, a conversation with Don again where it's like, between the missing mole and the inconclusive DNA test results, it's just not looking good. Lacey's like, it's gonna crush Margaret if it's not her son. And then Fahmy walks in and he's like, then maybe you should get your facts straight before you say anything to her. And and Lacey's like, oh no, Jamie, because you've been in that situation before. I have too, where you're like, you're talking mad about somebody, and they walk in and you're like, ugh. You get real quiet real quick.
You'd be like,
Anyway,
oh.
oh yeah. So at work today, you know, oof. Anyway, he's like, if you really wanted to know answers about my identity, you could have asked. They did, and you literally didn't answer, but it's fine. You can get on your high horse there, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, the mole, I had it lasered off when I was 10. What? Who paid for that? That's, again, this is insane. And it's like, he's like, and as for the DNA test, you'd have a better read if it wasn't off a stolen piece of pizza. Because he's a punk. He's just a punk. Um, India Garcia says, do you think Jamie's the real Jamie or an imposter who's pretending to be Jamie? I 50-50 think it's either a relative of Sir that he raised to be like him. India, you are 100% like where we're at.
Yeah.
So Takeerah and myself, and we talked a lot with Durga about this last week. Um, so yeah, our theory is that he is not really Jamie. He's
At
got
all.
some obsession with Gabby and with Margaret. Um, this Jamie guy was being so defensive on everyone, especially his mom. Like, why? Because he's not real. He
Mm-hmm.
can't be. He can't be. There's a lot of reasons, and I mentioned this earlier. A lot of people on Twitter, I guess, were like, "Oh, he really is Jamie." Nothing that they've done so far proves that to me.
No.
That's not true at all. If anything, I'm more suspicious of him. Why did he have something that the kidnapper stole from Margaret's house? I'm now more suspicious. Honestly, and I have floated the idea that he could be related to Sir. I think he could
I have
even
to.
be Sir's nephew. It's kind of my thought. But here's the other thing. He could just be a weirdo who is obsessed with true crime.
Yeah. Although now I'm thinking about the fact earlier that I said I was a little tiffed about not seeing like really what Sir was doing. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's because he was setting all this up for all these people
I think
to
so.
yeah.
I think so. Durga said touche on the pizza. India says I have saw some theories thinking he is Sir's son, but I highly doubt it. But I think he might be Heather slash Lena's kid or Christian's. Yeah, so Sir is like, I don't think Sir is sexual
Yeah, I don't think so either.
in any way. Um, it's just not his thing. I think he views it as gross. I think he views it as gross and like honestly simplistic.
I think he views it similar to sorry, to how Sheldon views.
Why does Sheldon have you in a chokehold? Just
it.
what is it about this Sheldon? It's got you just in a chokehold. Um, I think that it's this. I think that it's the sisters. This like the girl who's dating Trent. I think is Sir's sister, and I
Hmm.
think he might be her kid. That I don't know. That's my theory. I don't really know. I can't. It can't be Sir's son. I can't imagine.
I've spent a
If Sir's gonna
split
have a son,
second.
I'm sorry. If Sir's gonna have a son, we both know that child will be half black,
Yeah, yeah. And I think
right?
that, like, even for half a second, I was like, okay, maybe this is his kid. And then literally my brain was like, he's white.
Yeah. Look, we see how he is with Gabby, if he would even have sex. Two, remember the person who saved him, whatever, from his mom was that lady that we feel like that's why he went after Gabrielle, because it's like they're like
Hmm.
very similar. So it's like kind of a model in his head of what like the perfect woman is.
Hmm.
And she's not white,
And he's
in my
also the
opinion.
type of,
In my opinion.
exactly. He's also the type of person that I think weird women would fawn over and be obsessed with and
Oh yeah.
throw themselves at. And I just imagine him like,
Yeah. He's like, you disgust me, you absolute cretin. Durga says, Sir knows Margaret is observant. I don't think he knows this kid. Oh, with M&A, it's the sister. Yeah, that's fair. Y'all are wild. Durga says same. I thought it for a split second, and then I was like, that kid is white. And India says, Mr. Hugh likes the chocolate. Realistically, that kid would be mixed 100%. Y'all, as soon as I said it out loud, I was like, oh, should I not have said that out loud on the internet as a white woman? So I'm glad we're all on the same page. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. Okay. So they go back to the apartment again. Margaret's there and she sees scuff marks from hard sole shoes, but Bernie and Violet put their shoes at the entrance. Same in my house. So if Bernie was part of the altercation, he would have been barefoot, which means he was not the one who attacked Violet. Okay, so anyway. Um it moves on. I don't know, there's a bunch of other stuff in here about Christian. It doesn't really matter, honestly. And the one thing that matters is like Gabby comes to the conclusion that the real accomplice is setting up Christian, which we
Hmm.
said like 4 episodes ago. That's been obvious. Okay. So, you know, she goes to the jail cuz she's like, "Surprise, I'm back." And and she's like, "I'm only here for one reason." Uh, it's wild. He's like, I'm not mad at your betrayal. We are family. Families forgive. I can't. She's like, we are not family at all, but I'm here to find yours. Where's Christian?
Didn't he look up and go, it's about time?
Yeah, he did. It's wild. And 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 he's crazy. I love it. Anyway, He's like, I'll admit I'm surprised to hear you're not more grateful that I kept you out of prison. And she's like, I'm never gonna give you gratitude. And also I don't care about these games anymore. I'm not gonna engage. I just want you to tell me about Christian. And he's like, M&A has a case, a personal one. I can always tell. Gabrielle. He's like a vampire, honestly. But not like Angel, but like Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not broody, it's like weird. It's like weird and somehow old money. Does that make sense? Something about it. Anyway, uh, so he's like, I forgot about this. He goes, M&A has a case, a personal one. I can always tell. Plus, the guards here like to talk.
No, yeah.
He immediately folded on his sources. The guards here, they like to talk. They saw the press conference. I just picture him with like a cape over his face. I'm willing to help. Oh my god, I cannot. Okay. Anyway, all right, we've got comments. Hold on. India says, I don't think he's truly dead. They didn't show his death, so I'm not 100% sure he's dead. Maybe in hiding. We will get to that. We will get to that at the end of the episode. India says, he had the audacity about family forgive. Like, come on now. This woman don't think you're family, and she never will, and yet he is still chasing. I know. You've seen comparisons of him with Lestat? I cannot. I can't. I love it. I love that. I absolutely love that. Durga says, I realized that Gabby and Sir's dialogue gives Dawson's Creek. But Durga, does it give Saved by the Bell?
I can tell you what it doesn't give. It does not give Shameless.
No. No. I wish. Anyway. I've crossed oceans of time to find you. I'm sorry. Hold on. I've crossed oceans of time to find you. Hugh Dracula. Durga, I can't. You're too funny. Okay.
Wait, what was he reading? I think that was the line when he said, plus they like to talk in here. But he had the book in
Oh, I can't. Anyway. And she's like, is that why you lied? Do you think I will work cases with you? You have no control anymore. And he's like, and yet, here you are. Of the two of us, you're the one who walked in willingly. I don't know. I just picture like a vampire saying it with like dead eyes. You're the one who walked in willingly. And she's like, I'm only here because your brother's life is at stake.
Gabrielle.
Whatever. Stop. Why is it that everything is coming down to vampires lately? We're meant to. By the way, we did not announce this, but when Found is over, Takeerah and I will be covering episodes of Buffy. You're welcome. India says, I love and hate Sir because he is just so extra, but the way he talks is just giving so theater. Like, damn, come off of it, Mr. Hugh Joseph. See, okay, seriously, it's like he's Phantom of the Opera. Like, it's like it's not even giving of this era. The Phantom of the Farmhouse. Stop. Durga, you were too quick with that one. Oh my god. Yes. Yeah, we're going to start covering Buffy. We're going to go back to the beginning in preparation for any upcoming Hulu related Buffy series.
Am I the only one that watched the Christy Swanson Luke Perry Buffy?
Oh no, I loved that. I loved it. It actually I read the novelization of that movie also.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it, and I owned the soundtrack. Yeah, I absolutely love that movie. And one of my favorite episodes of Buffy is where they go back and, like, they kind of do try to do, like, a link up to make it make sense from the
Mm.
movie to the TV show, where
Hmm.
they show her old watcher, and I that was, like, one of my favorite episodes. Anyway, we could start with the movie if you wanted.
I am totally down. I've
It's
seen it
hard
so
it's
many
hard to
times.
reconcile it, but we could talk about, like, what they essentially what they changed in canon to make it work.
True, yeah.
We could. Okay.
Now all I hear is the principal going, detention, detention.
Little Weasley man. He's so good at being a weasel. Anyway. Okay. So, um, Idia says, like, Hugh, can't you just be normal for 1 second and stop being so dramatic all the time? Like, yes, I get he is a big bad villain in his big bad villain era, but I need some layers opened up to see more of his inner child. I think we'll get there eventually, but I live for this ridiculous this ridiculous dialogue. It's so funny to me. Okay.
They should
All right.
totally give him a cape.
They should. He'd be so good in a cape. Okay.
Gabrielle.
So, oh, cute. India says I love that movie and I'm still watching Buffy, but I'm going to restart again.
Yes.
Well, keep watching until we do our cuz we'll do like a week, we'll do like weekly like found, but we're just going to do
Hmm.
episodes of old Buffy. So, before you know it, we'll be covering all of season 1 cuz season 1 was only 13 episodes, so it was pretty short.
That's so funny.
Okay. All right. So, um all right, she's like, "Look, dude, just tell me, where's Christian?" And so then they do this like back and forth thing where he's like, "What evidence did Heavy Boots have to arrest your friend Bernie? Where are Christian's old haunts? Where did Violet spend her time? Stubbornness is unbecoming, Gabrielle." And so he's like, "You need an address to Christian's hiding places? I need a copy of The Taming of the Shrew." "Why? What does it matter? It's one book, and I give you my brother." "No thanks. I'll find him and Violet without you." And then she just leaves, and she leaves him there yelling, "Gabrielle!" Um, okay. So it's very dramatic. Anyway, there's another really heartbreaking scene of Jamie's husband trying to get her to like participate in helping with the girls because he knows like this is going to go negatively if you just check out. You've got to still be here for the we still have daughters who like need help
Mhm.
and they don't understand why their brother's gone. You have to like pull yourself up and like work through this. And she's like, "No, Jamie needs me. Just tell him I'm not feeling well." And anyway, that's when we get like the flashback to the desk with the little train car on it and stuff. Um, so then it's like Famy's sleeping on the sofa and Gabby comes in and she's like, "Oh, sweet little baby. Let me just grab his jacket and cover him up." So she picks up his jacket and then she drops it and a woman's brooch falls out, which is like, that's your style, dude. Go for it. I personally thought it was hideous, but I'm not old. So maybe that's why. I am old though. And I still think it's hideous. Okay, anyway. Who's even wearing brooches anymore? Like, be for real right now. India says Hugh and Gabby going back and forth was just too ridiculous, but I love it. The Margaret flashbacks hurt my feelings more than it needed to. For real, girl. They're
Hmm.
rough. They're rough. Margaret immediately comes in and is like, "What are you doing? Why are you going through his stuff?"
Margaret, get out.
And then she's like, "Well, actually, did he steal this?" Jamie wouldn't steal. Check the other pocket. "You told me to trust my instincts, Margaret." And
Hmm.
so she pulls something out of the pocket and it's a little train car and she's just like, "No, it's mine. Don't worry about it." And then Then Margaret, he wakes up and she's like, "Did you take?" Gabby's like, "Did you take this from the crime scene?" And he makes like a face like, "Oh, I don't. I guess I got caught." And she's like, "Oh my god, why would you do that?" Which is precisely the reaction you should have.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I didn't think the lady would miss it," which is a wild thing to say. And then Margaret's like, "I recognize this. Violet wouldn't wear this. She dresses younger than this." That's what I'm saying. It's for an old lady
Hmm.
for real. Durga says they just need to let me in the writer's room at this point. The train, the brooch, shaking my head for real. For real. It is a brooch that belongs to Miss Pearl. That's right. The lady you saw for a second is the true villain. Just like last week's episode. So I guess we can take bets next week on who the villain will be based on how little time they spend on camera. So I'm gonna go with that theory and see if it pans out next week. I mean, like, oh, you were on the screen for a split second. Must be you. Don't know how, but it will be. So
Just saying, they could bring back Ethan. I don't care how or why. They could
Oh
just bring him back.
yeah, I forgot about that. That was a delightful little surprise. Just a delightful little surprise. Ethan McDowell, who is an actor that we know, we've met him, was in like the first or second episode of the first season. It was
Hmm.
early on. He played like a senator.
Senators, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we love him. We do love
So
him.
much.
Okay. All right. So they go to confront Miss Pearl and they're like, "Does this look familiar? You were at Bernie's house last night, weren't you? We're ready to blackmail you because this is kind of our MO as M&A. This is what we do. We come in and we're like, you have a gambling problem and you wrote a mean email. You have a brooch." Um what? What? Okay, I'm coming back to that idiot. I gotta come back to that. Okay. So, anyway, she's like, I needed Violet to understand that her actions cost the church everything, basically. She's responsible for Bernie leaving us. She took Maria off life support and that broke him. She played God and ruined everything. And they're like, "Where is she though?" And she's like, "I don't know. I just threatened her and beat her up a little. I don't know where she is." And anyway, so she fell into a cabinet and she cut her arm. It wasn't as crazy as it seemed. And and then she followed her into the garage screaming at her, and and Pearl left after that. And then they realized that Violet is in a private prayer room in the church. She's been there the whole time. The call
I
the
didn't see
call
the
was
end, so I
coming
still didn't know where she
the
was.
call was coming from inside of the house. She's literally been in the church the whole time. Like they're like, "Oh, she feel okay." So here's I'll just give you the dialogue here. Okay, I thought Violet had wandered off and she would return and make everything right. And Margaret's like, "Yeah, she's telling the truth. Miss Pearl is telling the truth." Violet, and then Gabby, I think it's Gabby or Margaret says, Violet has been punishing herself for a year over her decision to let Maria die. Running away would be like freedom from her pain. So would ending her life. Dawn says that. She wanted to pay. That's why she was putting up with Bernie's rage, why she turned down Leonard's proposal. The fight with Miss Pearl must have been the last straw and the guilt she was already carrying. She needed penance. She needed forgiveness. Margaret's like, wouldn't she go to a church for that? And that's when Gabby's like, I know where she is. Anyway, they go into this little room. It's like a very small room with like an altar with candles, and she's kneeling and her arms are covered in blood. And she's been there the whole time. And and she's like, I can't leave. I can't leave until I know that I'm forgiven. And they give her like this whole speech, like, you have nothing to be forgiven for. And she's like, I should have listened to Bernie. I should have waited. And they're like, no, Maria put her life into your hands because you trusted you to make the decisions that Bernie couldn't. She didn't want to hold on to this world when God called her home. It was her time, and you respected her wishes. And then she's like, Miss Pearl said, and she's like, then Margaret's like, hey, I know a thing or two about holding on to guilt, they're wrong. Miss Pearl is wrong. Bernie was wrong. Everyone who judged you is wrong. Sometimes it's easier to punish ourselves than let go. And Maria wouldn't want that for you. So it's time to forgive yourself. Can you do that for Maria? And then there's like a little like Bernie and Violet forgiving each other scene. Um and then Bernie has like a little scene with Gabby where he's like, "Thank you for finding her," and she kind of talks about like, "I used to spend a lot of time in that prayer room. That's why I know that that was where she would have gone." Um anyway, and so then kind of like, and it's like a resolution for Bernie like being able to go back to church. Um and anyway, I don't know where it is in here, but when he does, he tells Gabby, he's like, "I can feel Maria now that I'm here. And
Mm-hmm.
one day you'll be able to feel your father again too. But you've just got to find it." Um and then um and then they do their welcome home thing, and then Famey comes in and he's like, Can I have one?"
No.
Just kidding. It's like, oh my god, you're horrible. He's like, "I just wanted to say sorry. I shouldn't have taken the brooch." And Gabby's like, "Well, it did break the case wide open. And at M&A, we save lives by any means necessary." Blah, barf.
Mm.
Anyway, then Don is like, "Yeah, you should take your own advice, by the way. I know you're not serving penance in the way that you wanted, but the found wall heals a piece of us every time. So just let it do that for you." And so then Gabby gets a phone call or a text, and Trent found Christian. And then, surprise, knock, knock, knock. Here's where it's unrealistic. They don't let you go to their cell.
Right.
Also, the cells don't have huge windows in them that you could easily reach through and choke someone.
I mean, he practically could have pulled Gabby through that
I
hole.
was like, I was like, how big is this window? Because like they're framed and like it's like this big around. I can't even do it on camera. It's like so far away from their faces. It was ridiculous.
And I think the
Um,
most hilarious part of the episode was the big, huge, heavy window being shut in his face as Gabby
yeah,
walked away.
yeah, it was funny. Oh, I'm sorry. Right before that, Margaret disappeared from her house and she went to the train station. This is like her first night at the train station. She brought Jamie's lunchbox that sits next to her, and she has the missing posters. And it's like she braces herself to start doing this thing that she's going to do. And immediately a woman is like, "Can I help you?" Which is so nice. And so that woman takes some of the flyers to hand out. She's handing out flyers. Husband shows up and is like, "Where are you? And what are you doing here?" And she says, "I need to be part of the details that save Jamie's life too," which was hard. That was hard. That was a hard one because you know that she just does that for years and loses everything else because of it. Anyway, he takes half of them and he gives them out, which was a nice supportive husband thing to do. I thought that was really sweet. Um okay, so he's got his copy of Taming of the Shrew and he's reading it in bed, and she's like, "Oh, some people were willing to negotiate."
Oh, that was
Or
the
no, he
part. That
says
was
that.
the part. That was the part with the book.
Some people are willing to negotiate for information. And she's like, "Oh, that's how Trent found Christian. Not detective work, just talking to you, your dumb behind."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "I assume my dear brother was hiding in his favorite rooftop garden like a coward, like he did when we were children." And he's like, "I suppose he'll be joining me here." And she says, "He's dead. He's dead. We were too late. Christian took his own life." Okay, India, you had said you don't think he's dead. Let me scroll back because oh my gosh, we've surpassed the comments. Hold on. Let me go back. Okay. All right. Margaret is getting on my nerves. Like I feel like she's in the denial stage and just wants to believe it is Jamie. There is half a chance This is just a kid who's pretending to be Jamie. Okay, so India, we did talk about this last week, and so we're kind of hoping, this is what our hope. Our hope is that actually she's playing him and she knows it's not him and she's trying to figure out like why exactly he's doing this by pretending to believe him. If it doesn't go that way, I'm not gonna feel good. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Durga says I rather 4 cases that are fully thought out than these rush cases. 100%. That would be way better if they broke up the season that way, I think. India says no, don't bring Ethan, please. I don't want that man on my screen no more. Why?
I don't even think he's been in enough things for anyone to feel that way.
Do you know Ethan? Do you know Ethan McDowell? Do you hate him? I need to know. I need to know the tea. Um, Durga said it was the deacon in the confessional with an incense burner. M&A is playing a massive game of Clue every week. um, India says, I'm hoping and praying that Gabby takes this time to heal and focus on the cases and stop self-punishing herself for so much for what had happened with Sir. Who do you think is the person who captured Jamie? Since it is someone Margaret knows. I had a guess that it could be the ex-husband, but I'm not so sure. Oh yeah, I don't think it's the ex-husband. Oh, the character Ethan. Who was Ethan in the show?
Oh,
Probably somebody annoying. I don't remember. Not
I
worth my
don't remember
attention
either.
or my
Sorry, let's call him what his name was. Senator.
Senate or something. No, that's fair. Um okay. All right. I'm trying to find it. You had said something, India, about oh, I don't think he's truly dead. They didn't show his death, so I'm not 100% sure he is dead. He may be in hiding. Don's husband. Oh, girl, preach. 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 We hate him too. How unprofessional of you, sir, to date your patient, you absolute weirdo. Actually, I warmed up to him a little bit in these later episodes, but I'm still not. I'm not an Ethan apologist. Anyway, okay, so that's how little I care for Ethan that I couldn't even remember his name.
Right? I
That's
couldn't
sad.
remember either.
That's
That's
really sad.
hilarious.
I've talked so much trash about him. Uh,
Senator Holden. His name is
Senator
Senator
Holden.
Holden.
Senator
And his
Holden.
daughter was missing in episode 1.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so I don't think Christian's dead.
So yeah, I'm wondering
I think
if
they're setting him
she
up.
lied to him. Like if
They're
she just
setting up Sir to get us to get more information on who's the actual accomplice.
mm.
I'm hoping he's just one of Sir's accomplices and goes away. No, India, that is wild. That is a crazy take. I love it. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
um wait, what was I gonna say? It was something about Christian, but I can't remember.
Okay.
But oh, okay, I do remember. I mean, I know this isn't The Walking Dead,
Okay.
but I did find it odd for them to keep shoving Christian in our faces like that, and if he
Mm-hmm.
really was dead, for us to not see it.
Right? Or at least see that, like a gurney taking the body away or something. Stop. Were we drinking the same thing? What in the world? What are the odds?
It's my
Ever since
go-to.
ever since I had the flu, this is all I have wanted is Canada Dry. Anyway, okay, so I think that's really gonna be it for us tonight, folks. I don't really have much more to say about this episode. Next week's episode will air on the 27th, so it is next week Thursday. It's entitled Missing While Matched, which I had said I feel like it's probably like a dating app.
That's what I'm thinking. So are we getting two missing people now again?
I don't know. Or is someone gonna try to date?
Mm.
Is Lacey going to try to date? No, she's with Zeke. There's no one to date. Oh, are we going to get a flashback to Trent meeting what's her face? No, they just
Oh.
met at a bar. That doesn't make it. Well, maybe
Oh.
that could still it could still play in.
Hmm.
Okay. India says I feel like it is a team of people as the accomplices. My list is Heather, who's also Lena, the sister, Jamie,
Mm.
maybe Annie, and someone else we don't know. Hmm.
You know what? I love all of our characters, but this season was so much more interesting when Lacey was kidnapped.
It was. It was. I hate to say that. Durga says Team Verner's on the ginger ale. Girl, it's expensive. I would drink it too if I could afford it.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Isn't that? I think it's a glass bottle one, isn't it? That's what I'm thinking in my head. It's one of the
Oh,
glass
okay.
bottle ones.
Okay.
It's like got a guy's face on the front of it. Um, yes, it is. Yes, and yes, India said. It is something pertaining to someone who is on a dating app and Lacey exploring a new relationship. Stop it, Lacey! Lacey, you dirty dog. I can't. Also, you know what? Maybe it's just Bumble BFF. Because I did that after I got married to try to make friends and it flopped hard.
Oh.
I made 0 friends.
Oh, I tried an app like that. I made one friend and she lives in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, you told me that. I made friends with some people here locally and it just like it just didn't. Nobody was like I am also obsessed with The Walking Dead. And that was really the problem.
And the only reason I made the friend in New Zealand is because she was like, I saw The Walking Dead on your profile.
It's weird, but we need each other. Nobody's going to get me the same. Um
Mhm.
okay, all right. All right, India's confirming it is about a dating app. Durga, they rushed Lacey's kidnapping. They did.
They did.
Jermaine, hi Jermaine. I'm so behind on the show, he says. India said I had a crazy theory, but I think Trent Sr. is Sir's deadbeat daddy, and hence why Sir is so consistent on Trent's legacy. Bro, are you for real right now? You're
You think
blowing
he's
my mind, India.
related to Heavy Boots?
You are blowing my mind, India. I love that. We love crazy theories. I'm actually a really huge fan of conspiracy theories. So like crazy
Hmm.
theories are just really right up my alley. Um, Durga says, Lacey, what about your Zeke Dawn thruple? Stop it. Stop it, Durga. I can't. I can't. Okay. All right. We are going to go. We will be back next week, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday evening. Gabrielle.
Gabrielle.
It's like Evangeline, but for this show.
Yes.
So we also covered True Detective, and we just really liked to say Evangeline
Evangeline.
because I was in the show and it was weird. Um, we did it a lot. I love conspiracy theories too. They're so fun. I just want there to be mystery in the world still. Like, don't tell me that Amelia Earhart was found. I don't want to know. You know? Don't tell me that. I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that you finally found Anastasia's body. Please don't tell me that.
Right.
I don't want to know that.
I
I
do
want to
need
live
them.
I want to live under the impression or delusion that I could somehow be Princess Anastasia, even though I'm not the right age at all. Just just don't solve those things.
The way you just made the words fly out of my brain.
I just need to believe that maybe I could be Princess Anastasia somehow. Somehow, some way.
I need them to stop thinking that they figured out Jack the Ripper and just figure out that Jack the Ripper.
No, I don't even want that. Don't solve that. Don't solve that and then don't blame it on a Polish man. Because that's what happened this time. They're like, you know what? It was a Polish man. And I was like, why is that important to the story? But that was the headline. I don't know. India says, and also in next week episode, they said Sir is using drastic measures to get Gabby's attention. Like how? Yeah. Exactly how? Oh,
I
you want me
can't
to do
imagine.
the Phantom of the Farmhouse is here. Jermaine says, I don't know if you guys heard that next week JDM and Lauren Cohen are going to comic what? To a Comic-Con? What Comic-Con? What Comic-Con?
Sorry, it's so small. I
What
can't see it
Comic-Con?
unless I do this.
San Diego Comic-Con isn't yet. I thought that was in like April or something. New York is in August. San Diego's in July. What Comic-Con? Jermaine, drop the deets. All right. We should go. We've been on for almost 2 hours, which is like way longer than normal. I don't know why.
It's because we
did.
dressed
We
up
loved
as
you.
vampires temporarily.
Yeah, we loved you guys. We loved you being here. Thank you, Durga. Thank you, India. So fun to have you in the live chat. Thank you. Also, thank you to Marcus and Jermaine for popping by. We appreciate it. And we hope to see you next week. Same time, same channel. Okay, I'm gonna read this,
What
India,
Comic Con?
and then I'm gonna go. Yeah, what Comic-Con, Jermaine? India says, I swear he was just a love-struck, obsessed teenager in an old man's body that just won't quit. You've been doing this for 20 years. Truly. His mama messed him up.
Really messed
She
him up.
messed him up.
2025 USA Comic Convention schedule.
I got this
Is
information
it at
from a
Emerald
YouTuber,
City?
from a YouTuber called Dan's Review. Well, that sounds reliable, I guess. Who's Dan's Review? Jermaine. Jermaine, who is this? Well, you know what? He's way more reliable to me because he's got 320,000 subscribers. So never mind.
Ooh, there's a
Dan's
Comic
Review
Con
kicks my
coming
butt.
close to me this weekend, and I'll be at work for 24 hours.
Oh, you can't go then. That's not fun. All right. Well. I don't know. I guess go like and subscribe Dan's reviews instead of me. I'm just kidding. Like and subscribe here. Stay here.
Oh no.
Don't go to Dan's reviews. He's got enough people. He's got enough influence already. I have no influence. Okay. I have influence over 112 people. And probably not even really. Probably over like 10 of you. Yeah, you guys have a great night. It was so good to see you, and we will see you next week. We love you so much. You sweet little angel babies. We just love you.